Hello and welcome back. I've got two forces, two vectors, acting on an eye bolt. You've seen this problem before. We solved it using the law of cosines. Um, we're just adding the vectors in order to find our force resultant. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to break them up into their components and then add them and then find the direction from the positive x-axis. So by looking at this, 800 Newton force pulling straight up right along the y-axis. It has no x component, so really I don't need to worry about that one while it's in the x. So I'm going to call this force 1, and I'm going to call this force 2. So force 1, x component is 0, and my y component is 800 newtons. Force 2, now I've got my x component, and my y component is going to be going down. So it's going to be negative, and then you can see there's my right angle there. So using SOHCAHTOA, I can find my x and my y. So my x component is going to be 600 newtons times, now this is the adjacent side, so it's going to be cosine of 30 because we're given the hypotenuse and I'm trying to find my adjacent side. And when I plug those into my calculator, I got 519.6 newtons. My y component is 600 newtons times the sine of 30 degrees. Now, we also said that that was going down, so that's going to be negative, and that's going to be a negative 300 newtons. Now if I sum my components, so if I'm summing my x components, I'm going to have 519.6 newtons plus 0, I hope is 519.6 newtons. And then my y component is going to be 800 newtons minus 300 newtons, which is going to be 500 newtons in the positive direction. So if I draw out my force resultant here, it's going to be going 519 in the x and then 519 in the y, so it's going to be somewhere here if I graphed it. So that's FR. So this again would be 500 newtons, and then my x component was 519.6 newtons. So it's easy to find my resultant force by using the Pythagorean theorem, which would be 519.6 newtons squared plus 500 newtons squared. Take the square root of that, I come up with 721 newtons. Now you can go back and verify using the law of cosines in a previous video that we get the same resultant force. Now to find my angle from the positive x-axis, now notice we are going this way to get to my resultant force, which is a positive. So remember, when you're going counterclockwise, that's positive. And if you're going clockwise, that's a negative. So I can come and say tangent of theta is equal to opposite, which would be 500 newtons, divided by my adjacent, 519.6 newtons. Remember, TOA, opposite over adjacent. So I can say theta is equal to the arc tangent of those two. Plugging those into my calculator, again, remember you have to be in degrees, I get 43.9 degrees. Now, noting that, you can check yourself using the law of cosines. Go back and look at that video again to see if you get the same answer. I kind of wanted to show you something real quick that I came up with. I put this together a little while ago just to check my work. Let's make sure I'm in view here. So we said that force 1 was 800 newtons. My angle here would not be 0, it would be 90 because it was going straight up on the y-axis. And then I plug in force 2, which was 600 newtons. And then my angle was going to be a negative 30. Remember, we're going down, so that would be a negative 30. I hit enter, and if you notice, my resultant force came out to 721 newtons, and my angle was 43.9 newtons. So this is kind of a way for me to check my work, plus sometimes I can use it to check quizzes and stuff. Makes life a little easier on me. I hope this helps. If you have questions, please let me know. Have a great day.